So the big question is this: how are commercial real estate brokers like us, who didn't take on debt to start their own brokerage, who are stuck in the hamster wheel of day-to-day selling, how do we sell real estate and build our businesses in a way that lets us develop rockstar teammates and create enough leverage to back away from day-to-day selling? How do we get our services, ideas, and insights out into the world and yet still create passive wealth? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Brett Swarts, and welcome to the Expert Commercial Real Estate Secrets Podcast. For the next four speakers, we're going to be, in fact, our gentleman's going to be getting mic'd up here in just a minute. And he's our next speaker. I'm excited to get to know him more and more. And he's kind of known as the godfather of the, let's say, the Sacramento area of EXP. And he's got a heart for service and for helping people. And he was one of the top, RE/MAX agents at one point, and then KW, and he'll tell you his whole story here. But if he is ready to go in about 30 seconds, and in the meantime, we're also going to I'm going to speak, and I'm going to talk about a little bit how to eliminate the need for the 1031 exchange, so that's something to look forward to. Also, Matt Stewart's going to be speaking as well, telling his story. And of course, we have in the house EXP President Jim Wong here, who's also going to be sharing to kind of get the final hurrah here. So with that being said, Brent, are you ready to go?
Sure.
All right. Brent, go, everybody.
How you doing, man? Good to see you. How you doing? All right. Hello. I am fresh off Highway 80. There's a lot of road construction between Lake Tahoe and here. So it took us an hour and a half to go 5 miles at one point. So I apologize. I was supposed to go home, shower, shave, dress up, smell good, look good. But it's too late. I already look good. I just don't smell good. No, but was golfing up in Tahoe all morning. It's beautiful. So, and it is clear up there. It is not as good down here. But great to see everyone. How you doing today? So please forgive my casual attire. I go, you know what? I'm just going to show up and they're going to have to deal with it. We good? James Hahn, it's a pleasure to have you here. I'm going to learn to pronounce your last name if it shoots me. Get that. And Brett and Matthew. I know Chris just finished. Well, I said, do I tell them about my expertise in industrial, converting it to retail space, or do we get into leasing? What do we talk about? And the truth is, I'm a residential hound. I am a residential guy. Been doing it for 25 years, been able to sell over 4,000 residential homes. That's kind of my jam. I've always referred away the commercial, constantly refer away commercial real estate. So why am I talking here today? Well, James and Brett and Matthew and Chris invited me to kind of share my story, because my story is applicable to you as a commercial expert agent. I chose to be an expert in residential real estate, not mobile homes, not in lands, not in new home construction, but in residential resale. I wanted to master, El Dorado Hills, Folsom, Granite Bay, Loomis, Newcastle, Roseville, Rockland, Granite Bay, Folsom, kind of this all around the lake, because price points are what? High. How many of you like to sell big, expensive commercial properties? Anybody? Who likes to earn big commission checks, right? And it's fun. It's what we do. And so I, too, enjoy that. And so I was able to do a lot of that over the past 25 years. Well, back it up about 4 years ago. Here I am at Keller Williams. I got the corner office. My team's in the other corner office. We're selling hundreds of homes annually. Happy as a lamb. Life's good. Go to Maui. Go to the Caribbean. Live in a nice home out in Morgan Creek. It's not a mansion, but I got 5 kids that eat me out of house and home, right? Does anybody have that? You do know the technical term for children. Does anyone know the technical term for what children are called? Write this down. If you're taking notes, you got to write this down. It's called ICUs. ICUs. Rick might know what that means, but nobody else. Who knows what ICU stands for? Income consuming units. All my kids are in college. I am devastated financially. I'm just kidding. But, my hand out. But anyway, so it is expensive. One of them goes, well, I'm going to go to Hawaii for this 5-month program. What's that cost? Oh, my God. Anyways, but so it's expensive. And so, but I was happy. Life's good. And then I see EXP residential. And I went, this might work. I didn't know if it would work. But there were 1,200 agents in the world, and now there are 60,000. Fast forward, it did work. It totally worked. This year will end with 90,000. I took my little 18-agent boutique team, and I leveraged it into 18,000. So this year we're going to end with 18,000. We're coming up on 15,000 right now. And this opportunity exists for you superstar dynamo commercial agents. You think, well, I don't want to have a big group. Trust me, name some of the big commercial outfits in the country. Give me a few names. Help me out here. Marcus Millichap. CB Richard Collier, right? Yeah. Cushman Wakefield. See, you think, well, I'm not sure I want to do that. I'm not sure you have a choice. Because if you come to EXP Commercial, it will begin to happen for you organically, whether you want to or not. I think, well, I'm not sure I want to be a recruiter. Don't. Just go sell commercial real estate, do your leases, do your industrial, do all the sell businesses, do all the things you do, right? But you will begin to earn stock, and you will begin to earn revenue share. I have 3 buyer's agents on my team of 18 that now all have over $1 million worth of stock. And I realize that's not a tremendous amount of money, but how much did you sock away in the past four years, you know? I wasn't socking away. I bought all kinds of real estate, then I lost all kinds of real estate in the correction, you know? And wasn't he a big shot? No, I had my butt kicked. And I almost made the front page of the Sacramento Bee in a way you don't want to make it. It was 2012, and the Bee did a story on Sacramento's deadbeat IRS tax losers. And I missed it by 10 grand. You know who was on there? People who owned huge commercial buildings and owned all the Burger Kings and Jack in the Box, all these celebrated business people. Well, when the market corrected and they lost a lot of that stuff, guess what? They went from being celebrated business people to deadbeat tax losers. And so I spent years paying off all my taxes. I'm proud to tell you today, my taxes are paid. I actually live in Puerto Rico. I live in the Caribbean half the year. Life is great, but I did something that James Wong, our president of EXP Commercial, wanting you guys to be a part of. I was a part of pioneering EXP Residential. And it sucked, and there were bumps and bruises. It was so easy. I made all this money. I didn't have to do anything. How many believe that? It sucked. We were lame. And EXP Commercial in Sacramento, if you're going to pioneer it, really get it going, you're going to have some bumps and bruises. It wasn't bad. But I mean, you know, 6 months later, my revenue share is coming in $27,000 every month. How would that make your house payments? Yes or no? Okay. 13 months later, it was coming in at $55,000 every month. Every single month. Would that make your house payment? And your car payments? 4 months after that, it doubled. It was over $100,000 a month. Never made less than $100,000 a month. And then it was $200,000 a month, then $300,000 a month, then $400,000 a month, then $500,000 a month. Last summer, after 3.5 years, I was making $350,000 a month outside of residential real estate sales. Fast forward, let's say 3.5 years from now, you are earning $350,000 a month cash flow outside of commercial real estate. That's a silly, ridiculous notion. I joined EXP 4.5 years ago to refer 10 to 15 of my friends to see what they would think. And then if they'd tell some of their friends, who tell some of their friends about this great split, 80-20. Is that what it is in commercial? I don't know. I don't know what you guys do. You guys, commercial agents don't do nothing. Now, just kidding. I'm teasing you guys. There's one of me and 19 of you or whatever. But here's the deal. You do what you do, and so there's this great split. 80-20 is a good split, right? And you got this amazing residential story, and it's gonna do it again in commercial, and you guys get to be a part of it. Wayne Gretzky, one of the greatest hockey players of all time, they said, Wayne, why do you score so much more than anyone? He's celebrated. He's Tiger Woods in Canada. Like, Wayne Gretzky's in the mall. Like, oh my God, it's Wayne Gretzky. Like when Michael Jordan or Tiger Woods or Michael Phelps. I mean, he's a big star in Canada. And they were interviewing him one time and said, why do you score so much? I mean, you scored more than anyone. Hockey's a massive sport in Canada. He outscored everybody. And he says, well, you know why? He goes, I just have this innate ability. When I'm on the ice, everybody, these professional, like the best hockey players in the world in Canada, they always skate to where the puck is. But I would watch, and I could just see it. I get a sense for it was going, and it would just kick out off someone's shoe or blade or whatever, and I would be, boom, right there, and I'd turn and I'd shoot on goal and I'd score. And I think in business, one of the keys to being successful in business is to see where the puck is going. And you could go, well, EXP Commercial's been around for a little while and haven't. When I got residential, I've been around 7 years, and they had 88 agents in California after 7 years. That's not impressive. But today there's thousands and thousands and thousands, and they do referrals all the time to commercial. I've given you commercial deals. I know you've got some, I think you're working on, or am I confusing you? Is your name Ken? Wrong guy. You look like Ken. Ken's got some. Anyways, he's looking at me like, I don't know you. I go, I don't know you either then. But here's the deal. You turn 55. You guys are all young and beautiful, okay? You'll turn 55 and wish you didn't eat so much mercury and fish at McCooney's either. Now, lead in your teeth. I have new teeth. The lead's gone. Now, so here's the deal. Here's the deal. I saw that this was going to be a movement. We're going to end the year at 90,000. RE/MAX agent count on its way down. Lions dying. Keller Williams on its way down. They're going, every single company's going backwards. Now, Realty One's doing pretty well. The low fee, $350 a deal shops, they're doing pretty good. But HomeSmart's doing okay. But Coldwell Banker, Century 21, dying breeds. All the big stars are going away. There's a shift taking place. And it's happening in commercial real estate. I mean, what's the cap, 20 grand a year? 20,000 a year? See, I'm getting my numbers right. Even I can do that. 80-20, paying 20, go to 100%. Is it good? So that's pretty good, right? And so did it work? Oh my gosh. The last summer, 12 months ago, I was earning a paltry $350,000 a month. And then last 8 months later, it was $750,000 a month. It took me 3.5 years to get to $350,000 a month. And within 8 or 9 months, it jumped $400,000 a month. On top of the 350, it was 70. And this last Thursday, it was over 900,000 for a single month. Not here. Cash flow. You guys are into ROI, return on investment. And they go, well, I'm not into the money. Really? Go do social work. Okay? I'll be honest with you. I have 7 children. We adopted 2. I got in real estate to earn money. I remember the first thing I ever said to Darren, who got me to real estate 25 years ago, is, can you make any money at that? That was 30 years ago. He says, yeah, you sell a house, take a $100,000 home, you earn a 3% commission, $3 grand. And by the way, I learned real estate agents can calculate 3% of any number in the world. Is that not true, right? Commercial, it's like 10% or whatever you guys get. You're the big ballers. I know. I parked next to you out there. Ooh, nice car. Anyways, so here's the deal. Where was I? Get off at the thing. 3% of any number. So Darren's like, yeah, you get $3,000 commission. The broker gets half, $5 grand. I mean, $5 grand. Half of 3 is $5 grand. Gets $1,500. And then you get $1,500. I go, so I sell a home a month, I get an extra $1,500 a month. He goes, yeah, and I go, you think I could do it? He goes, yeah, and I go, okay. And I got in and sold like 2 or 3 homes my first 6 months, you know? But then the next year I sold 18, and the next year 28, and the next year 38, and the next year 48. And then I learned how to formulate a team, went to 108, and 200, and 300, and 400 through scaling. So is what you are doing scalable right now, or are you just gonna grind? Because I'm looking at a lot of young people in this room. I grind for 2.5 decades. Grinding, like golf today at Coyote Moon. By the 12th hole, I'd been in the woods so long. If you get close, I am scratched up. Look, do you see the scratches? Do you see the scratches? Am I lying? Will you verify the scratches? That you don't get that in the middle of the fairway. You get that because you're in the bushes looking for your ball. And you're not leaving the bushes till you find your ball. And I grinded for 3 hours, and then the heavens parted, and I just killed the last 5 holes and beat James Stroop good by 5 holes. Now, what does that have to do with what we're doing here? Nothing, but I'm the speaker, and I get to tell you my story. Now, so anyways, it has nothing to do with anything. I'm just having fun. So here's the deal. I looked at my wife, and she's my CFO. She's been doing the books for 25 years. I go, where do you see our revenue share this time next year? She goes, $2 million a month. And so out in the year after that, she goes, it's just gonna keep doubling. You know, I mean, 24 million a year, 48 million a year. And you think, good for you, you big bragger. You get up there, you golf, we worked hard all day, we breathe this horrible air. Look out there, it's horrible. Listen to me, I worked my bottom off to do this. You guys are going to work hard one way or the other. Would you allow myself, would you allow James Wong, our president, would you allow Matthew Stewart and Brett, who you haven't even heard, Brett's been hosting, would you allow Chris, would you allow us to help you pro bono? We don't make anything unless you sell, unless you multiply. We want you to multiply. Have we proven we can do it? We're a debt-free, multi-billion-dollar company. When you add up Realogy, which is comprised of Coldwell Banker, Century 21, Better Homes, this company called Sotheby's, and 24 other brands, along with 20 the biggest title companies throughout the nation, that's Realogy, a billion-dollar hedge fund. I think their market cap is $1.9 billion. I looked it up a few weeks ago. Not bad. And then you take RE/MAX Worldwide. I mean, they're a worldwide, huge, powerful brand around the world. RE/MAX Commercial, Residential, CB, all that stuff. You add them all up, the market cap of both companies, you end up at about I believe it was $3.4 billion. And our market cap, I think last I looked, was like $4.5 billion. We're worth more than Realogy and RE/MAX put together, and we're just getting warmed up. And here is why there will be 1 million commercial and residential agents in the next 10 years, because we are only in 17 countries. We're opening 5 more countries this year. We're going to open, we just opened Panama, we just opened Portugal, we just opened in Brazil, we just opened in Colombia, we just opened Hong Kong, we just opened in Puerto Rico. What does that have to do with us here in Roseville? Oh, it has everything. Because I told those 10 or 15 friends here in Roseville and Folsom and Sacramento and Elk Grove, and a lot of them just enjoyed the 80-20 split, the $16,000 cap, and didn't go attract, sponsor, recruit, whatever. And guess what? Some of them have $3-4 million worth of stock without sponsoring other people. They just won sale award after sale after award after sale award. And as commercial agents, you're entitled to the same stock awards that residential agents are, but you get them easier because you don't sell paltry things for $500,000 like us. We're like, I sold at $500,000. Like, I sold a, little 7-Eleven or something. It's like you guys like to do the 5, 10, 20, 50, $100 million deals. I get that. Your sales awards will be through the roof. And I'm telling you, I'm so glad I did the Wayne Gretzky thing. I saw and I was willing to fail. Maybe I'll end this with this. My message to you, the reason I was so successful my whole life in real estate is I've been a guy who's willing to fail. I did TV, totally bombed. You're like, I know, we can see you, face for radio, right? I did radio twice, bombed twice, but the third time I succeeded. I was on KPK for 15 years. Every Saturday I did the Real Estate Report at Brent Cove for 15 years with Tom Sullivan, Katie O'Neill, Rush Limbaugh back in the early days back there. But they're all there, and there I was right there swinging the bat with them. And people call me all the time for business, but I spent money on marketing, but I was willing to fail. I always tell people I'm up in front of the room, and so is James and the other speakers, because we failed more than all of you. The more you risk your ego, the more you succeed. And so I know you want to succeed, but listen to me. Your actions speak so loud I can hardly hear what you're saying. You refuse to risk your ego. You won't call enough people to get the job. Go watch the movie In Pursuit of Happiness again. They made a movie about the guy's life because he struggled and grinded so hard and worked so hard, so focused. I mean, oh my gosh. I want to see the movie about your life and your life. You'll go, that'll never happen to me. And you know what? It will never happen to you if you believe that. But here's the deal. You may doubt yourself, but don't doubt me. Don't doubt Brett or Matthew. Matthew just brought on 200 agents up in Washington State and the beautiful Lexi. Without Lexi, he's nothing. His wife Lexi's beautiful. She's gorgeous. I mean, they took one look at Lexi and like, we're in. But see, we're going to help you. And James, don't doubt James Wong. If you know his background, we want you to be a part of this. And we're doing a meeting tomorrow at the Placer County Board of Realtors. That place is a ghost town. We're going to have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. Come, poke your head in the back for 10 minutes. Just look and go, holy smokes. PCAR's massive. It's this room times 10. It'll be jam-packed with residential agents who don't know what to do with their commercial referrals. Poke your head in the back tomorrow. It's sold out. You can't even get a seat. jam-packed. 2 to 4 tomorrow afternoon. Kyle Whistle's coming in from San Diego. #1 agent in San Diego for all brokerages. Sells more real estate than Sotheby's, Coldwell Banker, Remax, Keller Williams, the agency, whoever you want to put him up with, he outsells everybody. EXP agent. He'll do $500 million in sales this year. I have to take him to the French Laundry Saturday night. My kids are expensive and Kyle, but I bribed him with the French Laundry. We're going to do that Saturday night. It's a free event. Poke your head in the back. There's nobody doing what we're doing. And the opportunity for you is huge. And I'll conclude with this. My big aha was I finally go, I'm going to try it for 6 months. If I don't like it, in fact, if I don't like it in a month, I'm gone. If they don't pay me on time, if there's any hanky-panky, anything weird, 12 years at Remax, #1 in production for California, 10,000 Remax agents in California, outsold them all. 8 years at Coldwell Banker, at Keller Williams. Traded places with Tom Days, who was the #1 agent 7 times in 17 years worldwide. And he and I traded places as #1. And so I've done well, but I was willing to fail. I was willing to go to EXP and have it not work because I wasn't buying an EXP franchise. This is not a franchise. People go, where do I send my $200,000? They just want to buy a KFC. I want to buy a McDonald's. I want to buy a Taco Bell. I don't want to risk my ego. Just let me write a check. Nope, you can't buy your way in, but you can build your way in. Look at Walmart. Look at Best Buy. Look at Macy's. Look at people who built huge companies, Airbnb, Netflix, Uber, these people who got involved. This is a movement, not just the business. And so listen to me. There's going to be 1 million agents in 100 countries in the next 10 years. We have 900,000 residential and commercial agents coming. I just told people in Roseville, I have agents in all 50 states, every province of Canada, Alaska, Hawaii, and 17 different countries. We'll open 5 new. I'll be there. I don't fly to any of these places. I live here, and now because of taxes, in Act 60, if you understand Puerto Rico, no federal income tax, IRS law, and no state tax from California, and no capital gains on your investments. So I have to live there 6 months in a day. I live on the ocean, but I get to save millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars in taxes every year. That is there for you if you're willing to work for it. So again, you may wonder if you could do this, and if you don't feel like, what is this? Have we even seen it? I mean, I know poor Chris just spoke. How does EXP work? James Wong I'm sure there's some sort of a presentation you guys can watch and then understand it more, but we want to team up with you and watch it happen for you. I had many people who helped me. I will work for you. And if you were to hire me, and the last employer I had was 2009, it was Keller Williams, and it was $278,000 a year and bonuses up to $500,000. That's what it cost to hire me in 2009 in the bad market. I'm willing to come to work for you for free, not as an arrogant SOB, as someone who will love you, serve you, fight for you. You try me. That's why I'm successful, because I care not about my nice car or my nice home. I care about you. I don't even know you, but let's go have coffee. Let's go to lunch. Let's grab breakfast. I need to stop all the meals. But I just lost 60 pounds, okay? I'm not into cocaine or crack. Food is my drug of choice. Let's party with the lasagna. But anyways, funny enough, I'm going to Sienna's next, okay? I know, but I am on my way down. So anyways, give us a chance. Who at Coldwell Banker or Nick Cushman Wakefield or CB Richard Ellis or Mark, who's saying, let me fight for you? Give me, I'm slobbering all over you guys. Back up. It's a splash zone. I just went right on him. Give him a towel here. Sorry, man. So anyways, give me a chance from 6 feet away, I don't slobber on you, to help you. James Wong, people in this room. Check it out, learn more. It's real, and it's really happening to commercial real estate. Thanks for having me. I hope this is helpful. I don't even know what I was doing here. That's pretty cool.
Great job, Brent. Thank you so much.
Appreciate
Give his
it.
mic to him. All right, so next up, we're going to have a legend in his own right. Actually, he was the golf coach at William Jessup University. So for those who don't know part of my story, I played basketball in college at William Jessup University, pretty cool. And during that time period, we would battle on the court. He would come at 6 a.m. a couple days a week, and we would play basketball. So it's one of my passions in my life. And so he was really competitive. I was really competitive. and we had a great time playing together. And so fast forward, that was like 10 years ago. So about a year and a half ago now, he calls me. He says, hey, Brett, what have you been up to? I'm like, Matt, it's been a long time. What are you doing? Are you still at Keller Williams doing residential? He's like, I sold about 500 homes over the years, and I'm actually with a company now called EXP. And I'm like, yeah, I heard about them about 5 years ago. I'm like, that's cool. I'm a commercial guy. And I'm like, you know what, that's great, man. And he goes, well, have you considered that commercial's coming? I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, it's not official, but it'll be here. And I said, you know what, Matt, that's interesting. And even so, like, why did you join EXP? Because I said no to it. And he goes, well, let me tell you. And so we sat down, and he told me what he's about to tell you is part of his story, okay? And that was the catalyst for me. It wasn't just the model, but it was the people, and it was the person that I knew. It was the leadership. It was the culture. It was the Tom Daves, who was #1 in the world 7 different times with Keller Williams. It was the Brent Goves. It was the Don Yocums. There's all these people that I'm saying, these are Hall of Famers in real estate. I mean, over 10,000 transactions with all these different folks. I go, maybe as a guy, I can maybe learn something. And so that's what I did. I took my ego off, and I said, Matt, you know what? I'm not going to recruit. And I told him, I'm going to check you out. I'm very skeptical, but I'll join. And I'll tell you the rest of the story later, but I want Matt to tell you his story. Go, Matt.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate you. Well, awesome. Well, I got to tell you, first off, it's an honor and privilege to stand before you guys. It truly is, and I appreciate being able to do it. Brett was a toughie. I got to tell you, when he says he was skeptical, he's actually downplaying it quite a bit. We actually kind of went toe-to-toe on the phone, and I'm like, Brett, you're just not seeing it. And I told my wife, I go, Lex, I just don't get it. I must not be communicating properly to him. Here's what I said. What do you think? I mean, we're like hashing it out. And I go, man, he was so tough. He was like hammering me on stuff. And and so we went back a couple times, and then eventually he goes, you know what? And it was interesting. Time went by and it sunk in. And he goes, you know what? Okay, I heard what you said. I'm not going to recruit. He had his different things, and all that, and so forth. And anyway, so he's on board. And then he's the one that actually, called up Jim and said, hey, we got to meet. And he flew down to Irvine, and they had coffee or lunch. And I'm like, you did what? Really? Wow, that's awesome. He goes, yeah, man, I need to know. Like, I got to know this guy and, all this stuff. This is a big deal. I go, okay, buddy, absolutely, it's a big deal. Good for you. And then all of a sudden, he's like, hey, would you talk to this one person for me? I go, hey, buddy, you're not recruiting, right? I mean, like, what are you doing? Like, and he goes, well, I know I'm not, but I mean, they were kind of asking me questions, and I didn't really know what was going on. But you do, and you said you'd do the heavy lifting. And I said, absolutely, man, I got your back. That's the beauty of this system. And what Brett, if I could just piggyback on Brent, we literally will do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. If you can just pique interest and pass people over and let us answer the questions. And the model that's really beautiful about it is we just keep working up the chain, if you will, or what have you, because everybody has a different style and a different gifting from the Lord on how they communicate and connect with people and so on. And so there's so much talent that is coming on board into EXP, not only residential, but most assuredly commercial, that there really isn't anybody in the system of EXP that cannot answer questions, handle, take care of your people that you want to, put us in front of. And so that's what Brett has done. And to his credit, this is his event that he's put on. He actually hasn't even reached out to me, and I personally sponsored him. That's what we call when someone introduced you to, you got, oh, Matthew's my sponsor, all that. Sponsor doesn't mean I'm your mentor, your coach, or what have you, even though you do get a lot of that with our experience. But Brett's put this on, and Chris, I mean, it's like the whole thing, right? So pretty impressive. And it's phenomenal, Jim, that you've taken the time to come up here into our marketplace. It shows, I mean, this is the president of EXP Commercial coming to our marketplace to pour into commercial agents here and so on, right? I mean, thank you for taking the time to do that. Super humble, super accomplished. If and we got to do even a better job of what he's done in his background, so because it's incredible to have him here. But a little bit on my background, Brett wanted to share a little bit about my background. I'm a real estate broker on the residential side. I literally have been in the business for 45 years. I'm 45 years old. How is that possible? Well, my parents have been brokers for 47 years. So literally, I'm in diapers hearing about escrows and, pest reports and, home inspections and all this stuff, right? Swore I'd never get in the business. Grew up hating it. My mom was the #1 realtor in the entire Placer County in the late 80s, early 90s. Can I tee it up for you? Set it up for you. This was before email. If we can think way back there. We've always had email. No, there wasn't email. There wasn't smartphones. The cell phone, she was one of the first ones. It was the brick that you carried with you, and it had the little antenna on the car and all this stuff, right? And she had her Mercedes, and and there was no DocuSign. There was none of this stuff, and she's closing over 2 deals a week on average, okay, on the resi side. And so, there was a lot of times where I'm doing letting myself in after school, all that, and she's like, hey, you got to cook dinner because they countered the counter, and hey, are you guys still up? Because we can get this deal done tonight if you're still up. They countered your counter, and press hard, there's 3 copies, all this stuff. So I didn't see her a ton, so I kind of had this resentment towards real estate, but they said, hey, you know what, you're a young guy. What are you going to do in life? I said, well, the Sacramento Kings haven't called me yet. I'm waiting for the call, right? Brett mentioned we've had some battles on the basketball court. I was the head collegiate golf coach at William Jessup University. I started the men's program in '07 there. And truth be told, the #1 love that I have is not golf, it's basketball. I played this morning at 5 a.m. full court. Well, besides my lovely bride and even before her, quite frankly, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. But no, on sports-wise, basketball trumps over golf. But anyway, so they said, well, we think you should get into get into sales because, we think you'd be good at it. So fast forward, I did, passed the test 19, started selling at 20, and Coldwell Banker for about 4.5 years. A gentleman named Don Yoakum, who actually built Keller Williams in this area. In fact, he built 10 offices from the ground up scratch to over 2,000 agents. I was agent 23 in Northern California for Keller Williams. Back when it was Keller who? Keller what? Is that a paint company, right? What is it? Sherwin-Williams? Kelly Moore? I've never heard of that. And my mom said, absolutely do not do it. You're a Coldwell Banker. They're a big brand name. Stick with them. I don't even know this Keller Williams. And a year later, I sponsored them into Keller Williams, both brokers coming over, right? And ended up becoming part owner in 3 offices and was Recruiter of the Year in 2004 and all that. I only share all that not to pump myself up, but to share with you that the model of Keller Williams had what's called profit sharing, if you'd heard of that. And you get rewarded if you share the opportunity of KW with other agent friends in the community and so on. I thought, well, that's pretty brilliant. I mean, I got a lot of friends in real estate. I got a lot of friends, you have friends in the commercial side and so on, right? You're doing business with, going out to lunch, playing golf, what have you. I thought, well, that makes sense. Coldwell Banker doesn't reward me for anything of that nature. So yeah, I would like to build additional income streams coming in for my lifestyle and figure out a way that I could get off the transactional treadmill, right? You guys have that in commercial real estate too, right? It's not just a residential thing, correct? You're only as good as your last sale, right? We're commission-based. You get a big check and you're like, man, this is great, but now you're unemployed. I got to find my next employer, right? Hey, you want to sell that commercial space? You want to lease that building, right? So it's the same in residential, and I just went, wow, I'm like, I get up every morning, have the privilege to get my running shoes on, and I'm running on that treadmill for the next client, my next employer, right? I'm like, golly. I'm looking at my mom. She's still doing it. I'm looking at even, bless her heart, I don't know if she's still around, but a gal named Wynn Whitehead, she did it for many, many, many years, and I'm like, man, I don't know that I want to do it till I'm 70 or 80. Like, how do you get off? So I started investing in residential real estate, like rentals. But man, do you have to put a lot of after-tax earned income down to even have a decent positive cash flow to be able to return on investment of a 6-figure plus a year income. So I'm like, man, this is a slow road going. And so then I saw profit sharing with Keller Williams. I will tell you my best year, Recruiter of the Year, #1 office in the world of Keller Williams in profitability was Roseville, Keller Williams in 2004. I was Recruiter of the Year there. My best year was $19,700 in profit share for the year. My best year. recruiter of the year in the most profitable office. I'm like, wait a minute here. I mean, 20 grand's pretty cool. It's not getting me off the treadmill, not retiring my wife, right? I'm like, something's not up here. I got a couple good vacations from it, but I'm not going to turn it away. But so then I invested into ownership in offices. After 10 years in leaving and selling my ownership, with inflation, I lost money. It was a terrible investment, right? And it wasn't traded on NASDAQ and all this stuff that we have with Exp Commercial. So I'm searching around to get these additional income streams because I want to get free. I want to have both time and money. Fast forward, EXP comes my way, okay? This is before commercial was even created. So it's about 18, 19 months now that I've been at EXP Residential. For me, it was an absolute no-brainer to be able to have stock ownership in a publicly traded company rather than stock ownership in a little privately company that hopefully this real estate office will make it and you're an owner and I lost money. I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. And the opportunity to share with friends about the opportunity, they could share with friends, they could share with friends, all the way 7 generations deep. All of a sudden, you got a buddy from college that lives in Texas now that got his real estate license, whether it be residential or commercial. And he's like, hey, Jason, or you call him up, right? You share it with him. He goes, I'm in. Well, now his sphere of influence in San Antonio, it extends off to, Naples, Florida. It's from a gal that he met in college or whatever, right? And it just goes now Puerto Rico and then over in Italy and so on. And that's why Brent's in 50 states and 17 countries, right? So that's what you guys have an opportunity of. What I made in my best year at Keller Williams, I'm very quickly approaching that in a month, okay, monthly of residual income. What was my capital risk? Any idea? You don't know yet because we haven't even told you the plan. But you'll learn that. It was $149 to join. Is that laughable or what? $149. And some working hard and sweat, and calling and doing things and all that. But that has produced something that is a very quickly approaching where I can retire my wife, right? And then be like Brent. We want to be like Brent. We just want to be, play Coyote Moon, get scratched up, although I'm in the fairway. Hey, Brent, by the way, I wore this shirt for you, my friend, when I picked it out because I knew you were going to be here. Brent bought this shirt for me begrudgingly because when you play with Brent, okay, you don't play for cash or whatever. You play for golf shirts in the golf shop. And so, he goes, okay, low score out of the group, and I happen to be the low score in the group. So Brent ponied up on this one. So I wore it for you, my friend. Edgewood, right? So anyway, but any questions real quick before I step away? Because I think
it'd be good to do the model. So just break down a little bit about just the basics. Like what's the cap? How does it work on the residential side, right? And the commercial will be a little bit different. Jim will break that out. Okay. But yeah, just kind of break that down, and then also explain how someone gets paid.
So, on the residential side, we get the #1 CRM lead generation software in real estate today. It's called KV Core, KV as in Victor Core. And it is phenomenal what you can do. You can set up artificial intelligence where it will literally communicate with your database of clients on your behalf. It will text them. It will reply to them. And you watch it, and they're having conversation back and forth, and you're like, holy cow. And you can jump in anytime when they go, yeah, we were thinking about looking this afternoon. We were going to swing by. We didn't want to bother you. Oh, no, hey, you're not bothering me. Let's do it. Let's go look at some homes this weekend, right? Let's go look at that commercial property this weekend or what have you. So it's phenomenal. You can get what's called a smart number. You can put it on all your marketing. And the smart number, you just put I have a listing, shameless plug, 2 homes on 10 acres in Auburn. And we did a video, high professional video. It's 1.7. It's awesome. And if you text Sailor to my smart number, it'll automatically send you whatever I set it up to send you. We're going to send you the high definition virtual tour and so on. And then you can only text from cell phones, right? So then that automatically gets dumped into my database, and I can have it start a campaign. right? And I can set up the campaign and so on. So it's really allowed me to leverage my business in a huge way where I don't have to be touching all my, I have 6,000 in my database. I can't touch all those people all the time, right? But if you have a system like we have, and you have in commercial, you can. Anyway, I don't want to take all the time. I've spent a ton of time. I appreciate you guys, but I want to leave some time for Mr. Brett, who I'm super impressed with, is doing a huge business. Recruiting too, even though you said I won't recruit. It just happens. I'm telling you, it just happens. So even people in my organization, other than Brett, are like, yeah, I don't want to recruit. And I said, that's fine, don't recruit. It's not a requirement at EXP. It's an extra. It's a bonus if you want to take advantage of it. If you don't, no big deal. Earn the stock. Earn your commissions. Do very well, okay? Anyway, thank you guys. Appreciate your time.
All right, so I'm excited to share my story. I'm going to jam, and then Jim's going to be up, okay? And I want to take you guys back. This is in 2006, okay? So I show up at Marcus & Millichap, and it's right actually here, just Douglas Boulevard, just down the street, right? And I'm hearing these big things from some really, really intimidating people. And I'm young. In fact, I'm still in college playing basketball. And by day, I would be, at practice, and then I would squeeze in a couple hours at Marcus & Millichap. And I started in the training program. I quickly learned I wanted to be in commercial for a couple reasons: the competitive nature, the ability to have kind of unlimited upside in income, and the ability to solve problems on a scale with some of the highest worth net people in the nation. And so I loved and gravitated towards the commercial world very quickly. But it wasn't always easy. Starting out, I didn't know anything, right? And I didn't know I was going to be in sales. All I knew is I wanted to make it big and something that I enjoyed doing. Growing up as well, my parents were divorced at a young age, and so I saw wealth on two sides. My parents in the Bay Area, custom homes, room additions, rentals, and my parents got divorced. My dad doesn't pay any child support, and my brother and I, by the way, and Ryan has joined EXP, and he's on the residential side, and he's my older brother, and we'd spend time on the Bobcat, we'd spend time learning about real estate. We knew real estate was kind of in the blood, but we also knew that financially we wanted to succeed. He was the first one to graduate college from both sides of the family. I was the second. And we knew we loved real estate. He studied real estate in college. He was at Marcus & Millichap. I came into Marcus & Millichap. It was all going pretty good as far as the plan. 2008 hits, and I go from making a little bit of money to like nothing overnight. And it was like a shock to the core. I mean, I had been successful in college basketball. I had been successful in academic scholarships. I had been successful in life. And all of a sudden, I found myself very scared with my wife, baby at home, figuring out a way how I'm going to keep this dream alive. And I don't know if you guys have ever been so scared in your life, you're not sure how you're going to keep the food on the table, right? How you're going to pay for the baby that's on the way. Well, that's where I was. And so all of a sudden I'm going, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed out. Another deal fell apart. I remember sitting, it's like a random Thursday morning, rain's coming down, and another deal blew up. It was a 1031 buyer. I thought for sure, this is going to close. It's going to pay me. It's going to clear out the debt. I'm going to have some margin in my life. We can maybe move out of the condo that we've lived with my brother, right? And it just fell apart. I'm going, man, this is the hardest thing I've ever been through. And I just start crying in my mentor's office. And I'm going, this might be the bottom. But I'm going, you know what? I feel called to be in this business. I love the business. I have amazing mentors, coaches, they're training me. I got to figure out something. So I said, honey, my wife, Melanie, she's a rock star. I go, I know baby's on the way. I know we're barely making any money. I know we're going in debt. But if we just do these couple things, it can maybe make this thing keep going, keep the lights on. So we'll move in with Ryan to his condo over Whitney Rance in Rockland. And we're at Cheesecake Factory. We're ordering these cheesecakes for like $8 and this egg rolls for like 12. I'm like, hey, why don't I just work sides and weekends at Cheesecake Factory? So that's what it became. Literally by day, I'd make cold calls, negotiating with clients, trying to win listings. And by night, I'd work at Cheesecake Factory to keep the lights on. And my wife was able to stay home full time. That was one of our passions with our child. And so during this time period as well, I was coaching, recruiting, and bringing people into Marcus & Millichap. I was a big cheerleader for them, right? But what I found quickly was that same people that I brought in were now competing with me across the aisle. And the people that were benefiting the most were Marcus & Millichap. And I was very competitive, and I didn't mind sharing it, but at the same time going, this doesn't make sense. The worst would be they'd leave and go to C.B. Richard Ellis, right? And then you're like, wait, not even with our Marcus family, like our guys. Like, this is weird, right? And then I had 4 mentors within 5 years. One of them was fired. He was phenomenal. He didn't submit an offer. He did something poorly. He gets fired. I'm like, oh, that sucks. I'm left by myself. I get a new mentor. I end up kind of firing him. The next mentor, he's amazing. He's so good, he gets promoted. And then the guy who brought me in gets fired during the 2011. So I go through these multiple mentors, kind of get bounced around, and it's a weird time. But I learned about something called a Deferred Sales Trust, and that kind of changed my life because all of a sudden I had something to offer that was different than what most people had to offer. And as a part of that journey, my business starts to grow. I retire from the Cheesecake Factory. I help a bunch of clients, have a solution to the 1031 exchange. And fast forward all the way up to a point where I'm going, where am I going to be in the next 5, 10, 15 years? And what does that look like as a way to build teams and scale on beyond just Sacramento, right? Beyond just 1031 exchanging, right? That's part of the Deferred Sales Trust. And I saw Exp Commercial as an opportunity to take something which I'm really passionate about, which is capital gains tax deferral, as well as commercial real estate brokerage. And what I do is I train and coach and help people grow their business. And EXP became a perfect entrepreneurial company. So the one thing I want to help you understand is EXP Commercial, it's not just a real estate brokerage, okay? It's truly the Netflix to the Blockbuster because it's a tech-driven company. It's a leadership company. It's a agent-owned company. You can't put EXP in a box. And the way I like to say it, it's like the Amazon of the real estate brokerage company. And what's happening is as this changes and as everything that you've heard so far, and I think commercial is so ripe for it because we're typically in these little silos. And we're very competitive, even in our cubicles, because it's always, hey, let me scratch your back and I'll scratch yours. But up until that, I'll give you maybe 50-50 to see if this thing's going to go. And then if you leave me, now you're like my enemy, right, in a lot of ways. That's how a lot of the cutthroat world is. EXP has figured out a way to take those barriers down and say, hey, I'm 100% all in for you. So when David Hoisboin, TRI, we would compete a lot on different deals. Now he has joined EXP Commercial, multifamily practitioner for very many years. And I'm going, David, I want David to be 10X. I want to give him all my secrets. I want to give him all of the stuff that I possibly do to make him successful because of the alignment. And what I would encourage you to do is to underwrite the model and put your business hat on. And I made a mistake 5 years ago of not joining sooner. In fact, I dismissed it because part of it, I think, was my ego and my pride. And the gentleman who was bringing it to me, he was kind of my junior. I was kind of training him. And it sounded like residential, and I was commercial, and I was capital gains tax deferral. I go, this just is not probably a good fit. And I didn't even underwrite the model. I didn't look at the numbers. At Marcus and Millichap, they taught us to underwrite property and to look for cash flow and to look for value. And that's where everything changed. As soon as I got with Matt Stewart, and I looked at it and I go, okay, wait, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Robert Kiyosaki. Anyone read that book, Cash Flow Quadrant? Are you on the left side or the right side of the quadrant, right? What's the left side? Self-employed or employer, working for somebody else. The right side is business owner, investor. So your brokerage, what is it right now? And you might say, well, I'm independent and I own my own brokerage. Okay, so you're self-employed for your business and you're in a silo. I did that for a while, by the way. I left Marcus and Millichap and I said, I'm a broker. I'll do this myself. I'll basically get 99%, but I was on an island and it was tough. So I'm going, okay, so how do I align with people? How do I get the E&O insurance off of my, how do I build something bigger than myself? And how do I pour into other people and have people pour into me? And when all of those things lined up, I'm going, this is the best thing that I could do for myself, my family, my clients, the future of what I'm trying to build and help more people. And so that's kind of my story in a nutshell. And I would just encourage you to underwrite the model, look at the numbers, and then kind of like Brent and Matt said, my thought was, I'm not going to recruit, but I couldn't help once I became a believer. So right now you're probably in this spot of skeptic or, this sounds like pretty cool. And I'm usually the tortoise versus the hare. So I just stepped in and said, I'm going to give this a shot. The worst case scenario is 6 or 12 months. It's all just baloney. And they're not selling real estate. They're just recruiting and they're not adding value. And I'll go back to what I was doing. But I go, if what they're saying is true, this will change everything forever. And so now it's been over a year, and I can tell you every single month I've been in, it's only exceeded my expectations with the leadership, the culture, the commitment to development, the commitment to technology, and the commitment to the agent-owned company that we're in this together like a family, right? And so, I'm 100% a believer now, and I'm 100% a recruiter now. I'm not ashamed to say it because I think it will change my life, it'll change your life, and we'd love for the opportunity for you to join us and to see it and to be a part of it. With that being said, I am going to pass it over to James Wong, president of EXP Commercial.
Before I get started, I just want to, thank Brett, thank Brent, thank Matthew and Chris for putting this all together and speaking. And this is the thing, learn from each little piece because it is a whole puzzle that's being put together. And the biggest thing that I always love is, I work for all of you. I work for all of them. I don't work for me, even though they're saying, he's president. That means I have bigger responsibility to serve and work for everyone else. That is what I'm here for. And then just going back to the experience of why I was picked for this position. So I was a Wall Street guy, and when they said the pursuit of happiness with Chris Gardner, awesome, because I saw him on a Forbes Council meeting that he was on there speaking about his experience and giving back and helping out. But also, I was at Dean Witter for back in the days, back in the early 90s. So I was at Dean Witter where I first learned about financial analysts, got that position instead of being a doctor. Then I went into, when it merged into Morgan Stanley that bought Dean Witter, I went into portfolio management, had the analytical skills, loved it, thought I was going to get married, moved back, and then I worked under Bob Rabati and Mark Paul that ran SCI, the largest tick syndicator back in the day. So a lot of the DSTs, and I always say Brett does the other DSTs, so I had a lot of experience and knew a lot of the old school people, part of the business back in the 90s. And from there, I was doing a lot of the analytical work, looking at the different properties, and I said, you know what? I'm looking at a lot of properties from Marcus and Millichap. So I said, Bob, I want to go to Marcus and Millichap. He goes, no, Jim, this is pretty good here. You could do it here. And I said, well, I'm always looking at these properties and underwriting M&M properties. So I want to go try out Marcus. So I left in 99 to go to Marcus and Millichap. I tried the business and, interviewed. Finally, I got a spot in the LA office and went through their training program and just started doing what they said, making the calls. And I was proud to say, I love meeting people. I love building relationships with people. So I just kept on calling that I literally set up the most meetings out of my office. I would set up 7 to 9 unique meetings every week. I would just keep calling and keep doing it because I had the perseverance to beat and win. Because I know in commercial real estate, we always say it's a competitive combat sport, and we always just keep doing it. Contacts, right? More contacts, you get more business, right? It's a numbers game, and we love doing that. So just kept on doing it, and I just got on the phone, made a relationship, and I had that, bing, like everyone, aha moment. As we're talking about passive and other residual income, I started using my background syndicating and putting deals together. So much so that I put enough passive income, I left Marcus and Millichap to create my own first company, BRC Advisors. And I said, wow, I thought it would be great. I owned a bunch of buildings. I had 4 or 5 years in Marcus and Millichap. I had street cred. I'm going to open my own company, and they're going to come. Well, they didn't come. I remember when a title rep heard that I opened up an office, she came in, and the light turned off, and you never seen someone stormed out of the building so fast. Can you imagine walking down this long corridor, rented out this long building, and the light turns off on you? But before I could wave her down, she was already outside the elevator, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I do setting up my own company? But persevered again, worked hard, kept at it. Over time, I grew the company to 5 offices, over 180 commercial agents, true commercial agents from all the big firms. We were this boutique, well-known. We beat CBRE, we beat JLL. We had Frank Knight. We were the company. We were the young, hip company, like Marcus and a bunch, but we had about $7 billionaire families with us. I mean, we were the shop, right? We had fun. We made a lot of money. We were a boutique, full-service firm in Southern California, and it was fun. Then 2009 hit. Woo! Boy, these are the stories where it humbles you and you learn your lessons in life. I thought I had it all. When I was 36, I was done. I had a great team. I was making passive income from my syndication, my property management, my private money lending, all these different services, right, to create that passive income. So my life was good. But remember what we're talking about here. With all this responsibility is liability. I owned all the liability. I was paying $350,000 a month was my nut for the 5 offices and my assistants and everyone else and the employees. I was paying $350 every single month. So when Bear Stearns and Lehman Brothers went down in, I think it was October, November of 2008, and then 2009 hit, I was like, no one's closing any deals. All our pipeline got canceled. Literally, everyone canceled everything. Everyone backed out. No one gave you any money to borrow. And my company was paralyzed. But what I had to do is be strong for the company. And I never felt so weak and cried inside so much because it was such a painful experience where thinking you were retired, you were done, you were set, to go completely broke and really keeping everyone else, being everyone's therapist, so you didn't want the ship to crumble, right? Being strong for all the brokers there to keep them there. Making sure your W-2s, you can pay them, you can take care of them, because they were crying, they didn't want to be let go. You know, I had to negotiate, and we were a family. So I did say to the 11 employees, I can let 3 of you go, and you can set your own standard, your same salaries, or we will all take a 30% pay cut, and I will just survive. So our whole family could stay together. What do you want to do, right? Because it's always a buy-in. Make it your decision. Everyone said, we'll take a 30% pay cut so we could all work together. Then it's keeping all my top brokers aligned, talking to them, telling them, we're not shutting off, we're not doing this. But behind the scenes, I was up in there early in the mornings, cold calling, talking to people, saying, don't shut us off, don't do this. What can I do? How can I make this deal happen? What, just renegotiating everything, the leases, every tech tool that we had, every outstanding third-party contract, keeping everyone alive. And still recruiting, right, to fill, to grow, right? While every other day I was in a zombie mode, that I was walking around in a euphoric mode, I was out of body experience for 6 months. But this, just being tough, getting through it, working through it, just constantly going, right, showed you who you are, right? But one of the things is, who was I? I looked in the mirror and I said, you know what? I didn't like who I was of just doing the business and the money. And I think we all went through this kind of epiphany a lot of times. I wanted to give back. I wanted to help out. I cared more about people than I did about myself. And I said, you know what? One of the things that will happen if I ever get through, and I did a lot of praying. I was praying all the time, trust me, because I was praying for this too. This was terrible. Nuclear bomb, 10.0 earthquake, or dying of a heart attack. But I cared about people. So no, don't want to be people hurt at a nuclear attack. Don't want a 10.0 earthquake in the Bay Area or within Southern California because that would hurt people too. God, just let me just die in my bed peacefully and I'll be put out of my misery. Because that's what happened, right? When you're going through that much pain, but just persevering, going and fighting, and just saying, one day, one more day, one more day. And until you got through it. And basically in 2009, at the end of 2009, things started getting under better control. And I would say I was adapting even in crisis mode, fix and flips, loan mods, you name it, I created it. I had staff, I had empty office spaces, co-working, all those. I was just doing whatever I could. Like-kind trading, you're a lawyer, you're a CPA, you're a mortgage broker, you're this. Free offices, just come into our office and we could use your services, right? Because you gotta think outside the box during these times while you're staying strong for your entire company, keeping them going. So that's what I learned going through this, but also who I was as a person to give back and help out and care and look after people, which was, I think, what I needed to do if God gave me some gifts or opportunities is to give back and help other people. So during that, I say, for everyone that's gone through this, 2012 of summer, and I counted quarter by quarter when things basically got back to normal, right? It was a long recovery, right? 2012 is when things got better, and things started moving, and I kept doing it consistently. Then in 2015, I was very fortunate because my business development manager worked for Rand Sperry. So when he worked for Rand, he says, if I have to start the brokerage company again, franchise brokerage, who should I partner with? I was on the short list. He interviewed, talked, met him before. He said, Jim, would you like to come over to help me start the new Sperry company? I said, Sperry 2.0. It's an honor and privilege to work for a legend. So I started to say, okay, let's build a model, build a franchise model. Been around, understood it, because when BRC was big, Avison Young, Prudential, literally every company came knocking, showing me their business plan, right? Confidentiality. I looked at everyone's business plan. So I kind of had an idea of how to put a model together. So I told Rand, okay, we should put this model, a low-cost model, a network model, adding ancillary services, all these pieces. And I'm really proud that, it's still around, all these pieces are still moving, working and learning from a legend. But during the process of this time, I volunteered a lot. So I was also ARIA's national president, so I volunteered a tremendous amount. As much as I worked, I said I volunteered. CCIM, SIOR, ULI, REAP program, Ross Minority program. Literally, I worked and volunteered just as much. And I would say 9 to 5, you'll never make it. You got to put in your dues and do a lot more work and make a lot more connections and relationships. So as much as I worked, I volunteered. I just kept on volunteering to give back. So with all these things, by just volunteering, giving back, I found out about EXP. And yes, 3.5 years ago, Tom Trong, who was the national president that I followed, he told me, Jim, there's this new company out there, EXP. You should take a look at this. 3.5 years. And I said, Tom, but you're not commercial. I'm a true commercial guy. I've always have been. But you know what? I kept open-minded. And I watched what EXP was doing. Because actually, I was going to take your secrets and bring it over to Rand. And I was talking to our attorneys about a holding company going public, rolling up, the equity part of Sperry, the asset management, rolling it up. So in a way, I was learning from EXP. So I would show up for 3 years, all your conventions and events, because you would invite me. So I'd show up. Until one point that got to open the door with Jason Gessing. He said, Jim, this is very interesting. Let me put you in front of Glenn Sanford, Jeff Whiteside. For those that knew RJ Jones, all of them, they put me in front of them. Can you imagine this room trying to make this pitch, right? So at EXPCon, I flew in one day just to make this pitch and show them what the model, what the vision could be for commercial real estate. They said, you know what? We like it. Let's work on putting this deal together. All going fine. Does everyone remember what happened in March 2020? Well, shit. The whole world fell apart. They reached back out to me, go, Jim, whatever we're going to do, it doesn't work anymore. And I go, okay, it happens. And they said, would you be open on a restructuring and a repositioning of how we can make this deal happen? I said, absolutely, let's do this. So then we started working on the deal again and a kind of an earn out, build out, how we can make this new company. And then going through the whole process, and I always hate this, the 11th hour, the outside attorney says, we can't do this deal. And being a good commercial broker, I never give up unless you shut the door, lock me out of the EXP virtual world so I can't come back in. So I would come back in for 2 weeks going, come on, Jeff, come on, Jason, come on. How can we make this deal happen? What about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? I mean, I was just throwing proposals, plans. I was just sitting up all night writing what would work. How about this? How can we do it to overcome objections, right? To overcome whatever they were talking that they said no to. And eventually what they said to me was, well, would you take an offer and come over with us to see, to run our new company? And I said, you know what? It's always good to see what you're worth, right? It's always good to see an offer. Let's take a look at it. And I looked at it and said, wow, that's a good offer. And I also said, let me think about it. They go, what? I said, yeah, let me think about it. And so when I did think about it, talked to my wife, Han, because you need to work as a team. So Han Tran follows and works together as a team. And it's very important to have a buy-in. And from there, I said, let me think about it. So when I got back, I said, I don't want to just run brokerage. I want to add ancillary services. So those that have owned KW, RE/MAX, margins are tight, really squeezed hard. If you don't have a title company, your mortgage company, escrow company, blah, 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 printing, right? And all of those services, you're actually not making money. And I won't even say who's who, but some of my friends from KW and all those friends, they asked me if I would come over, and I looked at their model, and I said, geez, you don't make money off your brokerage. They go, yeah, we have to add all these services, or the broker owners producing with their own team, subsidizing a lot of time to keep the company going. So I was like, oh, this is not good. So when I was going to do EXP Commercial, I said, that's fine, but I want to add the ancillary services. So now going on to the vision of EXP Commercial, from all these different experiences, looking at everyone's business plan, right, confidential, right, I looked at everyone's plans and how they put their model together. I said, one, agent-centric, love that, what Glenn Sanford says, flipping everything on its head. I work for everyone here. I work for you. Putting the platform of, one, we are not we don't have brick and mortar, right? We're virtual, saving cost technology company. I love that because I saw the disruption, and I've always told people, if you don't adapt, if you don't stay open-minded, if you don't take a look, you may be obsolete, right? We saw Kodak, we saw Blockbusters, we saw Circuit City, we've seen so many. Taxi industry, right? I was a New Yorker too. Taxi just disappeared, no more medallions. People were trying to sell their medallions for $1 million before. Now, good luck selling your medallions, right? And everything else. So a lot of changes, virtual environment, using technology. Also, not a franchise, corporate owned. And if those that are in commercial real estate, which companies are surviving and thriving? Well, not thriving, but surviving. The top 5 corporate owned. CBRE, JLL, Colliers, right? Cushman, they're all corporate. They're not franchise. The franchise model, the regional are hurting bad because of efficiencies, how they could scale, how they could work. It's very tough, right? Because all the responsibility, liability are on you, recruiting, everything's on you. So that's what I love from, we are, we're virtual, not brick and mortar. We are not franchise, we're corporate owned. And also when we're talking about the tools, 80-20, capping at 20,000, 250 for all these tech tools from Reonomy, build out, a data tree, our enriched data, data tree. We have with AIR, we have all the corporate 50 states of the contracts. So these are some of the things we all need as commercial real estate agents. But we're constantly talking to all these other different tech companies because in the transactions, leasing, and business opportunities, yes, we get to do business op too. We are putting all the tools and experts into these fields so you can do all 3. And the next part is all the training and education. We broke up our partners, our company into different product type specialists: multifamily, retail, office, industrial, land development, triple net, leasing, business op. And they are even going to the niches of having self-storage, mobile home parks, RV, cannabis, everything you're thinking about, we have a niche with experts that have come over from all the other firms to be part of our different committee leaders and teaching, because what we're trying to do is bring all the best together, especially in commercial real estate. You specialize in a product type, trying to be an expert. Many of us stay in our lanes. So each one that are coming in, we're putting committees, leadership teams, so everyone else from realty and in commercial can plug in, can learn this information and share deals, right? So you have the best practice and you can refer. So as we're building this, we have actually this week, when I came up, we were doing our 1-week symposium where we're training new agents, the basics of commercial real estate for 3 days. And this is just opening the door for commercial real estate agents. From there, we have an 8-week accelerant course for those that want to take the next step to learn it even more. But we also, within our symposium, we are working with all the different trade organizations right now, CCIM, SIOR, ULI, NAIOP. We were talking about BOMA and others because there's so many that we have to collaborate and work with, because in commercial real estate, using our Virbela platform, we're bringing the whole world into one centralized location to educate, to share knowledge, to teach, because this also lets people know what our platform is all about. So that is kind of the power of putting this together, and it's all free. We get it all funded by sponsors, even making enough to do some other good work. So by putting this together from basic agent commercial training, product type specialists, advanced training of how to be a good mentor, how to do presentations, how you can do public speaking, we're putting an entire educational program together, because I do also love what Glenn and the rest of the EXP team put together. It's personal development. We're always on a mission of personal development. And you've got to keep educating, keep learning, keep pushing yourself to learn more, experience more, to grow outside your comfort zone. And that's how you grow and get better. As Brent was saying, you just can't sit there, right, and just let things happen. You'll know it. The same thing will just happen to you. And as we're saying, 60,000 agents, the type of referrals, we've had over $1 billion of referrals already sent to commercial. So if you're in commercial or business up, as we're talking about, so much referrals is flowing through. And as we're putting the systems together to identify each one in each group where you are geographically located, working with IDX Showcase, which is within EXP, we're putting together all these systems so you can coordinate and pass deals and referrals back and forth to each other. But just that, we're passing a tremendous amount of deals to each other on our own because multifamily is going to do multifamily. We're not going to do leasing. Retail is a specialist there. Everyone's just passing within their specialty to pass referrals to the best because we want to take care of our clients. Many of us, we don't need a referral. It's good. Take care of my clients. Get them the deal, right? Because sometimes if you participate, you're not going to get the deal. So we make sure we always take care of our clients. So the amount of referrals are going really well. But the other thing, what we're trying to create is a culture. A fantastic culture within a commercial real estate industry, which we believe is broken. And during the COVID time, it's definitely accelerated how commercial real estate is being done. Most people, good brokers, do not want to go back to the office. I used to have to drive an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, sometime in traffic to LA, back and forth, to go to an office, to sit there and drive back. I don't need to do that. And many of the big commercial brokers and teams also are not going to do that. Also, with our clients, the protocol has changed. Before, if you didn't fly across the country or to a different country to meet them, they don't want to give you the deal. Now they say, let's just do a Zoom until you have to meet, until you have to do deals. So using all this technology is so important. But now it's ripe for disruption with the Virbela platform, and I'm really excited with what we're doing. I brought up many of my mentors. Being 25 years in the commercial industry, I brought one of my close friends, Jeff Finn, whose family used to own NAI Global. I brought Fred Schmidt, who used to be part of CBRE, but ran Coldwell Banker Commercial, and other friends. So I will just tell you, by the end of this year, we have about 7 national or international presidents joining EXP, not even involving all the trade presidents that are going to be part of our system, using our platform, all of our friends and other friends, networking, collaborating to build this great platform with all of the commercial agents, like Brett and everyone else, adding the input to say, what do you need? What do you want? How do we do this? I mean, literally, we flipped on his head, and this is the exciting thing. We haven't even marketed. We just started November 1st, but I said, starting in November 1st, 2020, who the hell would start a firm, right, during Thanksgiving? I'm like, okay, but we had to do it, right? You're not going to get any traction, but we were learning and we were doing things, right? We were just watching. And we did set our first commercial training in December. 1,500 people signed up. And I would just say, as of February is when we really started, and we have 400 commercial agents, but the better one yet, we had these 90-day LOIs. So if anyone within EXP understands that there's time and scales, and you got to unwind in commercial because you have large amounts of deals, some of them in the millions of dollars. We have LOI signed by every firm, groups of 25 to 45, coming over. Right now, we already know everyone's copying us. So if you hear the word agent-centric coming from these large firms, that's because of us. Because we are on their map in commercial real estate. They already know how many people we're taking. They already know how many of the franchises and others are questioning what they have, and other groups. I mean, big firms. We are going to be, I would say, 1,000 to 2,000, which would put us in the top 10 firm in the country. So that's what we're looking at. And you're going to see, as we're starting to market, what leaders, what industry icons are coming over to our company, and leaders in the industry, because everyone in commercial knows each other. That's the best thing. Good or bad, they all know each other. And being in the industry, I brought my mentors. I pulled many of my friends 60 to 80 years old out of retirement. And you know what the great thing is? By getting them to see the vision, and I'll just say, they see the vision, they get it, smart people. Who do you think they're bringing on over? So that's the excitement. We have a couple people. Commercial is built on the backbone of a successful story in realty already. You don't think we're going to do it? You don't think you want passive rev share? You don't want to be an owner in stock? Fine. You could just do the transaction because we'll have the best price point, all the tools you need to be successful getting referrals. But all of these other things, you can now build passive income without the risk. Yes, it's not 149, it's 500, right? 250 to start and 250 every month. But that's the exciting thing. We're building something really cool. And this is the fun thing that I know I told Jason and his cousin. We're not only building how commercial real estate is going to be done in the future, or even now. We're showing how commercial is going to look. We're changing it that younger people are going to start being in it. A diverse group is going to be in it. Our symposium this week is women empowerment. Women are going to be leading. A lot of the CEOs and big commercial leaders and influencers have joined our firm, teaching other women, teaching a diverse group, teaching the younger people, teaching people in tertiary markets, in markets that normally, if you're not in a big city, you have no access to these leaders, to these legendary speakers to talk to them. But we're bringing it all here within EXP and in our virtual world. So I already know what's happening already. I'm already on my 2022, 2023 business plan because already the pipeline is there. I just can't share it because of these they can't do it. But you're going to see every 2 weeks, and that's all I can tell you. Every 2 weeks, and just mark my words. When you start hearing the news, and it's already out there, for those that are in the commercial real estate industry, we already know, because we all jump around and we have friends everywhere, right? Everyone knows each other, and it's exciting because we're not trying to hurt anyone. We're just trying to share what we have with everybody because we believe that we are doing something revolutionary to help people build their own personal wealth. Because if we do this, and I hope, like with Brent, Brett, the whole group, Chris, right, Matthew, that we want to give back. So many people at EXP, and this is what I love, kind of going off on a side tangent, it's the culture, family-oriented. I saw so many husband-wife teams. I love that. I love everyone's story of giving back, helping out to others. I love that, right? So I was aligned with so many visions and reasons of why EXP, and many people we learn through a lot of hardship. If you ever hear Glenn Sanford's story, you'll be amazed. You're like, ooh, this one person went through a lot. And who can talk to a billionaire? If you email him, call him, he'll actually return your phone call, right? A billionaire, and he's just as grounded, salty, but like with Brent, come on. I mean, he's downplaying a lot that he does, but I love him for it because of just what he is. But so many leaders are like that. We're willing to share our secrets, help out, giving back. Because yes, it is also selfish that it does help the company grow, but a lot of us, we're very secure. We're in a good place in our careers, and many people just keep giving back now. Because it is an agent-owned company, there's so many people, and I believe it's a culture of people loving and caring about each other, which is so different in real estate and residential, but definitely in commercial. We all know the hell no, not in commercial. So this is a great place to be because if you talk to a lot of the friends, and happy to connect you with many of the great leaders and people that joined EXP Commercial, they just said, we just want to work hard, do good business with people we like, and no BS, no nonsense, the no a-hole rule, and that's why they're all here. We're creating a great place, fun place that we can all do good commercial real estate business, pass referrals to friends, grow something if we want to, and to leave a legacy. So that's what is truly exciting on what we're all doing, and this is the ground floor for everyone. And what I do want to do too is, it's not me, it's not even the corporate team, it's not even the leaders, it's all of us. So year one, what I wanted to do is put a list together of all of us that built the company year one, and memorialize it and make sure we all get credit. And who does that, right? We need to do that because it's not one person. It's all of us together building something very special, helping and giving back. And you're going to see why so many other leaders are joining within commercial just so we can do something for all the things we were envisioning through all the years, whether it was corporate politics or whatever we had to deal with, our other friends. But now they're all here. So a lot of the visions that we're always aligned with, we're going to make happen. So, we hope you're here to help us take the ride with EXP Commercial. Think about it as EXP maybe 4 or 5 years ago. You're joining on the ground floor, even in commercial. You're going to see the big firms, but the word's getting out already. We already know that by the time the end of this year hits, it's already out there. And we already know what the big firms are doing, and other franchise firms are already using the word agent-centric, changing their model because of us. So I want to thank everyone again for taking this time to listen to all of our long speeches, and also for the team for putting it together. So thank you so much for this.
You have just listened to another information-packed episode of Expert Commercial Real Estate Secrets Podcast with Brett Swarts. We hope you enjoyed today's show and found it valuable. Visit expertcresecrets.com to access the show notes and to access more resources. That's expertcresecrets.com. Don't forget to leave a review and join us again next time.